A very good afternoon to all. In the last class, we have seen about alcohols and phenols. Okay. In today's class, let us start ethers. Okay. Ethers. So the general formula of ethers is nothing but ROR. This is the general formula of ethers. So let us see the preparation of ethers. Preparation of ethers. So when dehydration of alcohols take place, ethers get produced. Okay. So we are going to prepare ethers by dehydration of alcohols. Dehydration of alcohols. This dehydration of alcohols can be done by two methods. One is acid catalyzed dehydration. The other thing is catalytic dehydration. Okay. So let us see one by one. First method is nothing but acid catalyzed dehydration. Acid catalyzed dehydration. So from the word itself you can understand acid is catalyzing for the removal of water. That is why acid catalyzed dehydration. So which acid is generally taken in this dehydration process is nothing but protonic acid. Protonic acid. So what are protonic acids? Acids which give H plus ions, we generally call them as protonic acids. Examples for protonic acids, if you consider, okay, concentrated or generally H2SO4, this is a protonic acid. H3PO4, this is a protonic acid. So we will take one of these as an acid for this dehydration process. Okay. And when we do dehydration to alcohols, two types of products can get produced. They are nothing but one is alkene, the other is nothing but ether. So which product we require, it depends on the reaction conditions. When we change the reaction conditions, the product that gets produced by the dehydration of alcohols will also change. For example, when we are maintaining a temperature of 443 Kelvin and when we are using concentrated sulfuric acid to an alcohol, alkene will be the product. But the same alcohol, when we are treating with concentrated sulfuric acid at a temperature of 413 Kelvin, okay, then either will be the product. So what type of product gets produced, it depends on the reaction conditions which we are maintaining. Okay, let us see the reactions. CH3 CH2OH. I am taking ethanol as the reactant. This one reaction with concentrated sulfuric acid at a temperature of 443 Kelvin. Then this leads to the formation of alkene. Alkene gets produced in this way and water molecule gets removed. But the same ethanol, when it is treated with concentrated sulfuric acid at a temperature of 413 Kelvin, at this temperature, when we are treating this alcohol with this concentrated sulfuric acid, then ethoxyethane gets produced. Ethoxyethane gets produced in this way. Nothing but this is the ether. Ethoxyethane gets produced. Ether gets produced. Okay. Let us see the mechanism for the formation of this ether. Let us see the mechanism. Simple thing, mechanism. So let us consider the alcohol molecule. Step 1. This is the alcohol molecule. This one reaction with acid. Acid means I am just representing the H plus ion because acids give H plus ions. Okay. It gives, see this, The oxygen which is there in this alcohol, it contains 2 lone pairs in this way. So H plus ion, since this is electron deficient in nature, it will go and bind onto this oxygen. When it goes and binds onto the oxygen of the OH group, protonated alcohol gets produced. Okay, since H plus, we call it as a proton. Okay, since H plus is getting added up to the OH group of alcohol, that alcohol we generally call it as protonated alcohol. Protonated alcohol gets produced in this way. Now, this protonated alcohol will be attacked by the unprotonated alcohol molecule. How it attacks? In step 2, if we are considering step 2, when we are considering CH3, CH2OH, this is unprotonated alcohol, the normal alcohol. Protonated, unprotonated alcohol. Okay, this is attacking the protonated alcohol, CH3, CH2O in this way. This is the protonated alcohol. Protonated. Now what happens? See, this unprotonated alcohol, it will act as a nucleophile. It will act as a nucleophile. Now this will go and bind to this carbon. It will attack this carbon, because here if you see this oxygen, it will come out as, okay, this H2O. It will come out as H2O. This OH2 plus, it will come out as H2O. So both the electrons will be taken up by this oxygen, since oxygen is positively charged, okay, and it is more electronegative than carbon. That is why it takes away both the bonded electrons. Now this carbon will get a positive charge. So this alkyl group, okay, which got produced here, okay, it will be attacked by this unprotonated alcohol. Nothing but here this unprotonated alcohol is acting as a nucleophile and it is attacking the positively charged carbon. Nucleophilic substitution is taking place, and this results in the formation of CH3, CH2O, H plus CH2, CH. Since here this oxygen, since it is giving the electrons to this positively charged carbon, it will become positive in this way. So oxonium ion gets produced. Oxonium ion gets produced in this way. Okay. Now step 3, if you see step 3, the oxonium ion which gets produced here, it will be attacked by the alcohol again. Will be attacked by the alcohol. Now this hydrogen, it will be pulled by this alcohol, okay, resulting in the formation of ether, CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3. This is the ether which gets produced. Along with this ether, ethoxyethane, this is nothing but ethoxyethane, along with this protonated alcohol will also get produced. Okay, so this is how ether gets produced by the acid catalyzed dehydration. You can see here water molecules are getting removed, that is why dehydration. Okay, dehydration is taking place in presence of an acid. So this is the preparation of ether. So in this case, if you observe, we have taken the primary alcohol. Okay, so when there is change in the nature of alcohol or type of alcohol, okay, then the products that get produced will also change. In this case, we have taken primary alcohol, but when we are considering the secondary alcohol or the tertiary alcohol, then alkenes will be the major products. When we consider tertiary alcohol, alkene will be the major product. When we consider secondary alcohol, along with ether, alkene will also be produced. In case of secondary alcohol, alkene will be the major product. Okay, let us see those reactions also. Let us take a secondary alcohol. This is nothing but a secondary alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol. So this is a secondary alcohol. Okay. These, when it is treated with acid, okay, H plus, then it will produce two types of products. One is nothing but alkene, nothing but propene gets produced. The other product is nothing but diisopropyl gets produced. Diisopropyl ether gets produced in this way. Okay. So this is nothing but diisopropyl ether. Diisopropyl ether gets produced in this way. So among these two products, the major product will be propene only. This is the major products. Generally, if you see primary alcohol, when primary alcohol is treated with acid, SN2 mechanism will take place. But in case of secondary and tertiary alcohols, SN1 mechanism will take place. That is why dehydration of alcohol results in the formation of alkene as the major product. Okay. When we consider a tertiary alcohol, in this way, and when it is treated with concentrated acid H plus, okay, then this leads to the formation of two-methyl propene as the product. 2-methyl propene will be the product. Okay, this is the major product which tertiary alcohol. This is nothing but tertiary butyl alcohol. Tertiary butyl alcohol. So 2-methyl propene, that will be the major product. Okay. So please remember these things. And if you see the limitation of this acid catalyzed dehydration, okay, it is not preferred to prepare unsymmetrical ethers. Generally, this method is used for the preparation of symmetrical ethers. Okay, I will tell you why this method is not suitable for the preparation of unsymmetrical ethers. Okay, let's take an example for that also. This is one alcohol, and the second alcohol which I am taking is nothing but CH3OH. So two different types of alcohols I am taking, and I am reacting them in presence of an acid. Nothing but let us consider concentrated sulfuric acid. Generally, this reaction can take place at a temperature of 330 Kelvin. Okay. Now, different types of ethers, we can make these at a temperature of 413 Kelvin. So, different types of ethers will get produced. They are nothing but CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3. This is one ether which gets produced. Nothing but when two ethanol molecules, okay, undergo dehydration, ethoxyethane gets produced. Or when two methanol molecules undergo dehydration, then it will produce methoxyethane as the product. Or when one ethanol and one methanol undergoes a dehydration, then methoxyethane gets produced. So in this way, different types of ethers will get produced. So that is why since a mixture of ethers are getting produced by this acid catalyzed dehydration, it is not suitable for preparation of unsymmetrical ethers. Okay. So that's all about this. Next, catalytic dehydration. As I said before, dehydration of alcohols can be done by two methods. One is nothing but acid catalyzed dehydration, which I have said now. The second method is nothing but catalytic dehydration. Let us see about catalytic dehydration. Okay, catalytic dehydration. Okay, so let us consider ethanol CH3CH2OH. This one reaction with alumina Al2O3. This acts as the catalyst at a temperature of 513 to 523 Kelvin. This is the temperature and this is the catalyst. Okay, then ethoxyethane gets produced. Ethoxyethane gets produced. H2O gets removed in this way. So this is nothing but catalytic dehydration. Okay. So the next thing which we are going to see is nothing but Williamson synthesis. So let us start Williamson synthesis. Let us see Williamson synthesis. Williamson synthesis. Okay. So what is Williamson synthesis? Williamson synthesis is nothing but a reaction of alkyl halide with sodium alkoxide to prepare either as the product. We call that as Williamson synthesis. Okay. Reaction of alkyl halide with sodium alkoxide resulting in the formation of either we call that as Williamson synthesis. So this is the best method to prepare symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers. By using this Williamson synthesis, we can prepare both symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers. In case of acid catalyzed dehydration, it is suitable for the preparation of symmetrical ethers only. Okay, it is not suitable for the preparation of unsymmetrical ethers. But by using Williamson synthesis, we can prepare both symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers in good yield. Okay, let us see the reaction. I am taking sodium ethoxide CH3CH2O minus Na plus. This will reaction with ethyl bromide CH3CH2Br. Okay, this one reaction with alkyl halide. Then it results in the formation of either CH3CH2O CH2CH3 plus sodium bromide gets produced. So this is the ether, ethoxyethane gets produced in this way. Okay, here if you see this alkoxide ion, okay, so it will act as a nucleophile. It acts as a nucleophile. So this will attack the positively charged carbon. You know that bromine is more electronegative than carbon. So this bromine will develop partial negative charge. This carbon will develop partial positive charge. Since it is developing partial positive charge, this nucleophile will attack this carbon, forming ethoxyethane. So bromine, it gets eliminated as Br minus, which forms bond with sodium to form sodium bromide. Okay, so this is nothing but symmetrical ether. Okay, symmetrical ether means what? On either side of the oxygen, if same alkyl groups are there, we call it as symmetrical ether. Now let us see the preparation of unsymmetrical ethers. Okay. This is nothing but sodium tertiary butoxide. Sodium tertiary butoxide. This one reacting with alkyl halide. For example, let us consider CH3Cl, alkyl halide. Okay, so Generally, okay, when we are reacting these two things, okay, what happens here? So here if you see this tertiary butoxide ion, it will act as a nucleophile. Okay, so chlorine is more electronegative than carbon. So partial negative charge, partial positive charge. Similar to the first reaction only. Okay, it acts as a nucleophile. It goes and binds to this carbon. Then the product which gets produced is nothing but this is the product which gets produced. Butyl methyl ether gets produced. Okay. Yeah, we can consider these as tertiary butyl methyl ether. Tertiary butyl methyl ether gets produced in this way. Along with this, sodium chloride will also get produced. So if you see these reactions, they are taking place by SN2 mechanism. They are taking place by SN2 mechanism. Substitution bimolecular nucleophilic reaction. Okay, so in case of SN2, you know that the alkyl halide should be primary. Why the alkyl halide should be primary means steric hindrance. Okay, steric hindrance should be less. Okay, in case of SN2 reaction, steric hindrance should not be there for the attack of the nucleophile on the carbon of the alkyl halide. If steric hindrance is present, nucleophile cannot attack the carbon of the alkyl halide easily. That is why primary alkyl halide is preferred in SN2 mechanism. Okay, so since Williamson synthesis takes place by SN2 mechanism, the alkyl halide which we are using here, it should be a primary one. Okay, so if it is secondary or tertiary, then along with the ether, alkene will also get produced. Let us see them also. For example, this is nothing but a secondary alkyl halide, isopropyl chloride. Isopropyl chloride. So these one reaction with sodium ethoxide. Then the product which gets produced is nothing but propene. Propene will be the major product. Propene gets produced. Okay, along with this propene, okay, ether will also be produced but in less amount. Ether will also be produced but in less amount, because when we are using secondary alkyl halide, due to steric hindrance, SN1 mechanism will take place. SN2 mechanism will not take place. Due to steric hindrance, SN1 mechanism will take place. So when SN1 mechanism takes place, alkene will be the major product. Propene will be the major product. This ether which is produced here, this will be the minor product. So ethoxypropane, 2-ethoxypropane will be the minor product. Propene, this will be the major product. Okay. So let us consider the tertiary alkyl halide. This is nothing but tertiary alkyl halide. These are reaction with sodium alkoxide. This is nothing but sodium alkoxide. See, this alkoxide, we know that it is it acts as a good base also. That is why this alkoxide, it pulls the hydrogen from this carbon. From the alpha carbon, it will pull the hydrogen. It can be from either this carbon or this carbon or this carbon, any carbon. So when it pulls the hydrogen from this carbon, so this carbon will get a negative charge. Later this chlorine, it will come out as Cl minus. Nothing but this carbon, it will get a positive charge. Negatively charged carbon and positively charged carbon, it results in the formation of a double bond. Nothing but alkene gets produced. So it will form these are the products. Okay. So 2-methyl propene gets produced. 2-methyl propene gets produced. Okay. Along with this, ethanol as well as sodium chloride will also get produced. Okay. So when we are considering tertiary alkyl halide, here it is nothing but tertiary methyl chloride. Only alkene will be the major product. In case of secondary alkyl halide, along with alkene, either will also be produced but in less amount. Okay. Tertiary butyl chloride. The reason is nothing but both secondary and tertiary alkyl halides, they follow SN1 mechanism. Okay. That is why alkene will be the major product when we are considering secondary and tertiary alkyl halides as the reactants. Okay. So remember one more thing, you can take this sodium alkoxide. It can be primary, secondary or tertiary. There is no problem with that. Okay. Sodium alkoxide can be, these can be primary, secondary or tertiary. We will get either as the product. When we are taking primary sodium alkoxide or secondary sodium alkoxide or tertiary sodium alkoxide, when we are reacting that with primary alkyl halide, our product will be either only. But when we are changing the alkyl halide to secondary or tertiary, then alkene will be the major product. Okay. So aryl alkyl ethers can also be prepared by this method. Aryl alkyl ethers can also be prepared by this method. Okay. Let us see. Let us consider phenol. Phenol, this one reaction with sodium hydroxide. Then it will produce sodium phenoxide as the product. Sodium phenoxide gets produced. This sodium phenoxide, when it is treated with alkyl halide, primary alkyl halide. For example, I am treating this with CH3Br. Let us consider. Then the product which gets produced will be okay. This is the product which gets produced. Methyl phenyl ether gets produced or methoxybenzene gets produced. Methoxybenzene gets produced. This methoxybenzene, this is also known as anisole. This is the common name, anisole. Okay. Here to this sodium methoxide, if you are treating this with ethyl bromide, then ethoxybenzene will get produced. Ethoxybenzene will get produced. Okay. Ethoxybenzene gets produced. So this ethoxybenzene, this is generally known as phenetol. This is known as phenetol. Okay, ethoxybenzene is generally known as phenetol. Okay. Yeah. Benzyl alkyl ethers. So benzyl alkyl ethers can also be produced by this. Let us see the reaction for the preparation of benzyl alkyl ether. So here Let us consider sodium methoxide. These are reaction with benzyl bromide. Okay, so these will produce the product as this is the product which gets produced. Okay, plus sodium bromide will be produced. So this is nothing but methyl phenyl ether gets produced. Sorry, benzyl methyl ether gets produced. Methyl ether gets produced. Okay. So this is about the Williamson synthesis. Okay, we have completed Williamson synthesis. Nothing but preparation of ethers are completed. Okay, let us see the next thing. Now let us see the physical properties. Okay, physical properties. Physical properties of ethers. Physical properties of ethers. Okay. So this is nothing but an ether. Okay. So if you see the dipole moment, ethers will have dipole moment value. Why ethers will have dipole moment value? The reason is nothing but due to electronegativity difference between carbon and oxygen. For example, if we are considering methoxymethane, this is nothing but methoxymethane. So here if you see carbon is less electronegative than oxygen. Then the bond moment, individual bond moment, it will be towards oxygen in this way. In this case also it will be towards oxygen. The resultant of these two things will be in this direction. Nothing but ethers will have some dipole moment value, but the dipole moment value will be low only, it will not be very high. Okay, so ethers have dipole moment value. Okay, for methoxymethane, if you see the dipole moment, it will be around 1.3 degrees. This is the dipole moment value of methoxymethane. Okay, the next property is nothing but boiling point. Let us see the boiling point of ethers. Boiling point. When we compare the boiling points of ethers with alcohols, ethers will have low boiling point. Ethers will have low boiling point when compared with alcohols. The reason is nothing but in alcohols, hydrogen bonding will be present. Between the molecules, hydrogen bonding will be present. But in case of ethers, no hydrogen bonding. No hydrogen bonding is present. Okay. Since hydrogen bonding is present, more energy is required to convert them into vapor state. That is why boiling point of alcohols is more when compared with ethers. In case of ethers, between the ether molecules, dipole-dipole interaction will be present. Dipole-dipole, weak dipole-dipole interactions will be present. Interactions will be present. Okay. Now when we see the lower ethers means like methoxymethane, okay, this one, or ethyl-methyl ether, this one. Okay, so these things, okay, they will have a bit high boiling point when compared with hydrocarbons having similar masses with these two compounds. For example, methoxymethane. Okay, the molecular mass of this compound is similar to propane. The molecular mass of this methoxymethane will be similar to propane. Okay, but methoxymethane will have a bit high boiling point when compared with propane. The reason is nothing but due to dipole-dipole interactions. In the same way, this ethyl-methyl ether, okay, it has a bit more boiling point. The boiling point of this ethyl methyl ether, it will be high when compared with butane. We can consider butane. Okay, but when we consider ethoxyethane, and when we compare the boiling point of this with propane, N-propane, almost both of them will have same boiling point. The boiling point of this ethoxyethane will be 307.6 kelvins. This will be around 309.1 Kelvin. Ethane has a bit high boiling point. Sorry, pentane has a bit high boiling point than ethoxyethane. Okay, the reason is nothing but due to the presence of oxygen in this ethoxyethane. This ethoxyethane will be more unsymmetrical when compared with this propane. Okay, so presence of oxygen in this ethoxyethane makes it more unsymmetrical in nature than the propane. That is why it will have low boiling point when compared with propane. Okay, so this is about boiling points. Next, when we see solubility, the lower ethers are generally soluble in water. When we see the solubility of these ethers, lower ethers, so these are generally soluble in water. The reason is nothing but the lower ethers, okay, they can form hydrogen bonds with the water molecules. They can form hydrogen bonds with the water molecules. These are the water molecules. This is the ether. So see how this lower ether is forming hydrogen bonds with the water molecules. Since the lower ethers are forming hydrogen bonds with the water molecules, they are soluble in water. That is the reason. Okay. So these are some of the physical properties of ethers. Now let us see the chemical reactions of ethers. Chemical reactions of ethers. Chemical reactions, let us see. Okay. When ether is treated with hydroiodic acid or hydrobromic acid, it gets cleaved to form alcohol and alkyl halide. Okay, alcohol and alkyl halide will get produced. Let us see the reaction. Okay, CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3. Okay, this is the ether. I am taking ethoxyethane. These I am reacting these with let us consider hydrogen iodide. Okay, then it will form ethanol plus ethyl iodide gets produced. When we are using hydrogen iodide in excess amount, when we use this hydrogen iodide in excess amount, what happens is nothing but the ethanol which got produced here, it will further react with hydrogen iodide to form ethyl iodide as the product again. If you see the reaction, ethanol will further react with hydrogen iodide to form ethyl iodide as the product. Ethyl iodide gets produced and water molecule will also get produced in this way. Nothing but when we are treating these either with a limited amount of hydrogen iodide, ethanol and alcohol and alkyl halide gets produced. When we are treating excess amount of hydrogen halide with either, then the final product will be alkyl halide only. Alkyl halide will be the major product. Okay. So this is a symmetrical ether. Okay. So if you see the mechanism, let us see how the mechanism takes place. Okay. This is nothing but step 1. Let us consider step 1. Ethoxyethane, this one reaction with hydrogen iodide. Hydrogen iodide, if you see, it gets cleaved as H plus and I minus. Okay, H plus ion which is present here, it will go and bind to the oxygen because oxygen has lone pairs with it. That is why this H plus ion, it will go and bind there. If it goes and bind there, that results in the formation of CH3, CH2, OH plus CH2, CH3. It gets produced in this way. Okay. Now the I minus, okay, which is present here, okay, later it will attack this protonated ether. This is nothing but the protonated ether. So it will be attacked by this I minus. Let us see the attack. Step 2 you will see, okay, the protonated ether which got produced here, it will be attacked by the I minus. I minus can attack either this alkyl group or this alkyl group. Both are same only, no? So it can attack any one of the alkyl group. Okay? It results in the formation of CH3, CH2I plus CH3, CH2OH. Ethanol and ethyl iodide gets produced. See here, this oxygen, since it is positively charged, it will come out. It will take both the bonded electrons and it will come out as ethanol, and ethyl iodide gets produced. Okay, here if you see this I minus, it acts as a nucleophile. It is acting as a nucleophile. Okay, so this reaction takes place by SN2 mechanism only. By SN2 mechanism, this reaction will take place. Okay, now if you see, when we are using excess amount of this hydrogen iodide, the ethanol which got produced here, it will further react with hydrogen iodide. See step 3. This will further react with hydrogen iodide. Okay, H plus and I minus. H plus will come and attack this. Okay, this results in the formation of CH3, CH2, OH2 plus I minus. Later, this OH2 plus, it will come out as H2O. This I minus will come and attack this carbon. Okay, I minus plus CH3, CH2, OH2 plus. Okay, so this will come out as H2O, I minus. Okay, this is the nucleophile which is attacking this positively charged carbon. If OH2 plus is coming out as, if it is coming out, it will take both the bonded electrons and come out. Okay, this results in the formation of ethyl iodide in this way. Ethyl iodide gets produced. Okay, so this is one chemical reaction about ethers. Ethers, when they are treated with hydrohalic acids, nothing but hydroiodic acid or hydrobromic acid, alkyl halides are the products. Okay, remember that alkyl halides are the only products when excess hydrogen iodide is taken. If not, alcohol and alkyl halide gets produced. Okay, please take this. Now let us consider an unsymmetrical ether. Unsymmetrical ether and react that with hydrogen iodide. This is nothing but an unsymmetrical ether. This one reaction with hydrogen iodide or hydrogen bromide. Okay, then the products are nothing but CH3I plus CH3, CH2OH. These are the products which get produced. Generally, these reactions, they will take place at a temperature of 373 Kelvin. Okay, so methyl iodide and methanol, they get produced. Okay, why ethyl iodide is not getting produced? CH3, CH2I, why it will not get produced? Why methyl iodide is preferred to form rather than ethyl iodide? The reason is nothing but, if you see the mechanism, okay, CH3O, CH2, CH3, this is on reaction with HF. So hydrogen iodide H plus I minus. H plus will come and attack this oxygen. Then it will form an oxonium ion in this way. Oxonium ion gets produced in this way. Okay. Now I minus attacks the oxonium ion. So if you see this oxonium ion, the two alkyl groups, this is methyl, this is ethyl, which is less hindered means methyl group will be sterically less hindered. Since it is sterically less hindered, I minus will go and attack this methyl to form methyl iodide as the product. Along with this, ethanol will also be produced in this way. Okay. So this is about unsymmetrical ethers. Okay. So these reactions take place by SN2 mechanism. SN2 mechanism. And one more thing. Okay. So if you see the reactivity of hydrogen halides towards these ethers, if you see the reactivity order, hydrogen iodide is greater than hydrogen bromide is greater than hydrogen chloride. This is the reactivity of hydrogen halides towards ethers. Okay. The reason is nothing but I minus, which is produced from hydrogen iodide. Okay, it is a good nucleophile, so it cleaves the CO bond easily. The carbon oxygen bond which is present here, it can be cleaved by this nucleophile more easily. So if nucleophile is stronger, it can cleave the carbon oxygen bond in either more easily. That is why the reactivity of hydrogen halides towards the ethers is Hi greater than HBr greater than HCl. Okay, so nucleophilicity order, if you see, I minus is greater than, Br minus is greater than, Cl minus. This is the nucleophilicity order. Okay. Let us see some more reactions. So here I am taking tertiary butyl methyl ether. I am taking tertiary butyl methyl ether. Tertiary butyl methyl ether. Okay. These, when I am treating these with hydrogen iodide, so what is the product? What will be the product? In case of these, if you see, the products are nothing but tertiary butyl iodide will be one product and methanol will be the second product. Okay, these are the products. You can get doubt why the products are not methyl iodide and tertiary butyl alcohol. Why these are not the products? Because the reason is nothing but here this tertiary butyl methyl ether. Okay, the H plus ion, when it attacks this oxygen, it will form oxonium ion. Okay, now when the bond is getting broken down between carbon and oxygen, between this carbon and oxygen, then it will form a tertiary butyl carbocation. Okay, tertiary butyl carbocation gets produced. Now if the bond is getting broken down between this carbon and oxygen, then a primary carbocation gets produced. You know that tertiary carbocation is more stable when compared with primary carbocation. Okay, that is why, okay, so I minus, it will attack this tertiary carbocation rather than the primary carbocation. Simple thing. So this tertiary butyl methyl ether, if it undergoes, when it undergoes cleavage, it forms two types of carbocations, we can say. For example, if the bond is getting broken down here between the carbon of this tertiary butyl group and oxygen, then tertiary carbocation gets produced. If the bond is getting broken down here then primary carbocation gets produced. We know that tertiary carbocation, it is more stable when compared with primary carbocation. That is why cleavage takes place between the carbon of this tertiary butyl group and oxygen. Then I minus will go and attack this carbon. Okay, so it results in the formation of tertiary butyl iodide plus methanol as the products rather than these products. So it is based on the stability of the carbocation. Nothing but here it is following SN1 mechanism rather than SN2 mechanism. Rather than SN2 mechanism, it is following SN1 mechanism. That is why tertiary butyl iodide is the major product rather than methyl iodide. Hope you understood. Nothing but in this case, we have taken hydrogen iodide as the reactant, as well as we are reacting that with tertiary butyl methyl ether. Okay, these are the products. Let us see one more reaction. Isopropyl methyl ether. Methyl isopropyl ether. This one reaction with hydrogen iodide. Okay. Let us see what are the products which gets produced. These will take place at a temperature of 373 Kelvin. Okay. Then here if you see, the products produced will be CH3, CH3, OH plus CH3I will be produced. The reason is nothing but here if you see hydrogen iodide, it gets cleaved as H plus and I minus. H plus, it will go and attack this oxygen to form the oxonium ion. Oxonium ion gets produced in this way. Now there are two alkyl groups in this oxonium. One is nothing but alkyl, the other is nothing but isopropyl, which is sterically less hindered. To that this I minus will go and attack, which is sterically less hindered methyl. That is why I minus will go and attack this methyl, resulting in the formation of methyl iodide. So these things are important in objective point. These things are very important. Please note down. Now let us see cleavage of alkyl aryl ethers and cleavage of benzyl alkyl ethers. Okay. First let us see cleavage of alkyl aryl ethers. Okay. Cleavage of alkyl aryl ethers. Alkyl aryl ethers. Let us see about these things. Okay. Methoxybenzene, or we can call it as anisole also. Methoxybenzene, or we can call it as anisole also. Anisole. Okay. This one reaction with hydrogen iodide. Okay. At a temperature of 373 Kelvin, let us maintain at this temperature. Now, if you see where the cleavage takes place, whether the cleavage of CO bond takes place between the carbon of this benzene and oxygen, or the carbon of or between the carbon of this alkyl group and oxygen, between which the cleavage takes place. Okay, so in this case, cleavage takes place between carbon of alkyl group and oxygen. Okay, between these two, cleavage takes place, but not between these two. The reason is nothing but here. So between this carbon and oxygen, partial double bond will be present. Okay, why partial double bond will be present? Because the lone electrons which are there in oxygen, on this oxygen, they will be in resonance with the benzene ring. So due to that resonance, okay, partial double bond gets produced between this carbon and oxygen. That is why it cannot be cleaved easily. Okay, so the product which gets produced will be OH, phenol plus methyl iodide gets produced in this way. Phenol plus methyl iodide gets produced in this way. Okay. So this is about cleavage of alkyl aryl ethers. Understand the reason. Okay. For example, okay, now let us see cleavage of benzyl aryl ethers. Benzyl aryl ethers. Cleavage of benzyl aryl ethers. Benzyl aryl ethers. Let us see the cleavage in these things. Okay. So this is nothing but benzyl alkyl ethers. Sorry, benzyl alkyl ethers. Okay. This is benzyl methyl ether. This is nothing but benzyl methyl ether. Benzyl methyl ether. Okay. These are reaction with hydrogen iodide at a temperature of 373 Kelvin. Okay. So here what happens is nothing but, here if you see whether the bond between the carbon of this alkyl group and oxygen gets broken down, or the carbon which is present on this benzene ring and oxygen gets broken down. Okay, here the bond gets broken down between the carbon which is present on this benzene ring and the oxygen. Here the bond gets broken down. The reason is nothing but, if the bond gets broken down between these two, okay, a stable carbocation gets produced. You can see this. CH2 plus gets produced. Okay. And CH3O minus gets produced. Here if you see this CH2 plus which gets produced here, it will be stabilized by resonance. Stable carbocation gets produced here. Although it is a primary carbocation, but it is stabilized by resonance. That is why cleavage takes place between the carbon which is present on this benzene ring directly, as well as between the oxygen. Here the cleavage takes place, but not here. When it takes place here, the carbocation which gets generated is CH3 plus. So that cannot be stabilized like this benzyl carbocation. So benzyl carbocation is more stable compared with methyl carbocation. That is why cleavage will take place here, resulting in the formation of, so if cleavage takes place here, this is the benzyl carbocation which gets produced here. Now from this hydrogen iodide, if it gets cleaved, H minus, I minus will come and attack this. This results in the formation of benzyl iodide plus methanol gets produced in this way. See the difference. Okay, when we are considering, okay, aryl alkyl ether, then when we are treating that with hydrogen iodide at a temperature of 373, we got phenol as the product and methyl iodide is the product. But in case of benzyl alkyl ethers, okay, benzyl iodide is the product and methanol will be the second product. Followed what I said? Please take this. And one more important thing. So when we consider diaryl ethers, this is nothing but diaryl ether, diphenyl ether we can say. Okay, so this diphenyl ether, it cannot be cleaved by hydrogen iodide. Hydrogen iodide, see this hydrogen iodide which we are taking here, okay, it cannot cleave this diaryl ether. Diaryl ether cannot be cleaved by hydrogen iodide. So the reason I have already said, because the reason is nothing but between this carbon and oxygen, okay, partial double bond will be present. Partial double bond will be present. Due to the presence of this partial double bond, it cannot be cleaved by this hydrogen iodide. Hydrogen iodide cannot cleave this double bond and product will not be produced. So in objective questions, this is important. Okay. So this is about chemical reactions. Okay. And let us now see electrophilic substitution reactions of ethers. Electrophilic substitution reactions. Electrophilic substitution reactions of ethers. So let us consider the ether. Aryl alkyl ethers. Electrophilic substitution reactions of aryl alkyl ethers. Okay, this is nothing but methoxybenzene. Okay, now if you see the methoxy group which is present here, the alkyl group can be ethyl or propyl or anything. Okay, here I am taking methyl. Okay, this is the alkyl group. So here this methoxy group, OCH3 group, it is an electron donating group. It donates the electrons. Okay, when it donates the electrons to the benzene ring, electron density it will increase at ortho position as well as at para position. Now, if electrophile wants to react with this aryl alkyl ether, then it will react. It will go and bind at either ortho position or para position, because at those positions electron density is more. That is the reason. Okay. Let us see the electrophilic substitution reactions. Different electrophilic substitution reactions. Okay. First is nothing but halogenation. We can consider bromination. This is the ether I am taking. R represents the alkyl group. Okay. These one reaction with bromine in presence of acidic acid, that is considered. Then the products which get produced are nothing but ortho product will be produced, para product will be produced in this. Ortho product and para product is produced. Among these two products, para product will be the major product. The reason is nothing but, okay, when these alkoxy group and bromine groups are near to each other, okay, there will be some hindrance to both of them. Nothing but due to that bulky nature. Due to bulky nature, they cannot exist adjacent to each other. Okay, there will be some hindrance. So due to that nature, okay, para product will be the major product. If you see this para product, bromine and alkoxy group are opposite to each other. There will not be any hindrance. So this is nothing but halogenation. So we have already seen these electrophilic substitution reactions in different cases. Okay. So hope you know the mechanism of this. That is why I am not explaining the mechanism. Okay. So nothing but in this case, if you see bromine, if it gets cleaved, it forms Br plus and Br minus. Br plus will be the electrophile. It will come and bind at ortho position. I have already said the mechanisms of these reactions in the previous videos. You just watch them, you will be knowing. Okay. So this is about halogenation. In the same way, if you see nitration. Okay. Methoxybenzene, this one reaction with HNO3, nitration mixture. Nitration mixture is nothing but concentrated H2SO4 plus concentrated HNO3. We call these as nitration mixture. So when these two react together, we know NO2 plus is the electrophile which gets generated. So these will go on binded ortho or para position. This results in the formation of orthonitroanisole, para-nitroanisole gets produced in this way. Para-nitroanisole gets produced. This is orthonitroanisole, this is para-nitroanisole. Two types of products will be produced. This is the major product, this is the minor product. So this is about nitration. Please take this. Now let us see about Friedel-Crafts reactions. nothing but alkylation and acylation. Okay. So aromatic ethers. These are reacting with alkyl halide CH3Cl, that is considered in presence of anhydrous aluminium chloride. Then alkyl group will get substituted on the benzene ring. Okay, this leads to the formation of two types of products: 2-methyl-anisole plus 4-methyl-anisole gets produced. 4-methyl-anisole gets produced. Here, if you see, if this CH3Cl, okay, when it reacts with aluminium chloride, okay, it will produce CH3 plus AlCl4 minus. This CH3 plus is the electrophile. So these will go and bind at ortho and para portion, resulting in the formation of ortho and para products. Okay, so this is nothing but Friedel-Crafts alkylation. Friedel-Crafts alkylation. Okay. Next, Friedel-Crafts acylation. If you see Friedel-Crafts acylation, we take acetyl chloride instead of alkyl chloride. We take acetyl chloride. The same reactant we will take. Okay, methoxybenzene. These are reacting with acetyl chloride CH3COCl in presence of anhydrous aluminium chloride. You can consider it will form two types of products. This is one product, ortho product. At ortho position, acetyl group gets attached, and at para position, acetyl group gets attached. I already said the reason why at ortho and para position this acetyl group gets attacked. The reason is nothing but this is the this is the electrophile which gets generated. When these two react together, okay, they form CH3CO plus AlCl4 minus. So CH3CO plus. This is the carbocation which gets generated. It will go on bind at ortho and para position. The reason is nothing but methyl group. It will increase the electron density at ortho and para position. Since it requires electrons, it will bind at ortho and para position. Okay. So these are the two products which gets produced. So this product we call it as 2-methoxyacetophenone. 2-methoxyacetophenone. This is nothing but 4-methoxyacetophenone. Acetophenone. Okay. So 1, 2. Its second carbon methoxy group is there. 2-methoxy. CH3CO, we call it as acetyl group, so acetophenone. Here also if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-methoxyacetophenone. So these are the electrophilic substitution reactions of aryl ethers. Okay, by this we have completed our lesson. Okay, so please if you haven't understand any topic, okay, please go through once again. Nothing but please watch the video again and again until you understand. Definitely you will understand. If you are having any doubt, please post below the video. I will definitely clear your doubts. If you like my video, please give a like, okay, subscribe, okay, and please share the video. Thank you all. Thank you very much.